Greetings. I'm in a small town in the state of Maine in the USA, and we just left Quebec City and had a great time there. And spring is springing, so we're out and about. So this is the final episode 12, and it's been a bit of a journey, I know, for a lot of you who have stuck it out. Hopefully you got something out of all the lessons learned and some of the strategies and so forth. But today we get down to the brass tacks on my plans. And so first of all, the training plan. So we'll go over that in detail so you get a sense of the strategy to build a strong long distance base to run a sub 30 hour 100 miler. And then I'll also give you some insights, and I'll show you my spreadsheet on the race day plan. That has everything, every 10 miles, what to expect, what to do, what to be prepared for. So I'll give you all of that, and hopefully you'll be able to follow that and build your own sub 30. Keep in mind, that's my plan, and you're going to have to customize it, but at least it gives you a starting point. If you need me to email you spreadsheets, I can do that. Let me know. Anyway, here's the training plan first. So this is the 100-miler training program that I've been talking about. It's got a fair amount of detail, and I'll go over some of it so that you can get an orientation, so you can try to design your own training program. But this is a good starter, and you can customize as you need. As you have heard, I'm going to be running the Across the Years race at the end of the year. The dates I've chosen are December 29th and 30th, but there are several dates available that you can use if your schedule doesn't align with that. Anyway, that's my target. And so, quick orientation to the plan. You can see on the left-hand side here the starting date of each week, and then the corresponding week number, starting on July 22nd for week 1 and all the way until week 24 when we run the actual race. So at the top, you can see Monday, Tuesday, right through Sunday, and the run, walk, hike totals on the far right. So you got to look at my legend there, so that you know what my shorthand means. R is run, W is walk, and H is hike. I tend to mix walk and hike together. Basically hiking is more intense, the way that I define it, than just walking. So let's look at a typical week so you can understand my shorthand. So in week 1, on the Monday, I would do a 4-mile run. Keep in mind, these are all in miles, so you'll have to convert to kilometers if that's your preference. So week 1 on Monday, a 4-mile run, a rest day on Tuesday, followed by a 6-mile walk hike on Wednesday. And for many, that would be a strange approach. But you do have to learn how to walk briskly and hike, at a good pace. And this is part of the training program. And it does add to your miles. A lot of your training is just getting on your feet and staying on your feet for long durations. Then on Friday, a 6-mile run. And then ending on Sunday with a 9-mile run. Total for the week of run, walk, and hike is 25. One of the things that you will notice on this plan is that I've color-coded in green a few of the days that are more intense. And so as I look at my spreadsheet, I can see them coming up. And these are usually big tests of, putting everything together, and maybe longer runs, longer duration, and so forth. So I'll show you a typical week. that includes one of these big challenge runs. So week 9, for example. So if we go to week 9, on the Tuesday I'd do a walk run 6 miles. Sorry, it's a walk hike. And then on the Thursday I'll do an 8-mile run. And then on the Saturday I would do a 30-mile run and then walk hike mix. And so that's more what, the strategy I'll be using in the race. So my longer runs, I mimic what I would end up doing in the race. So, the intervals between running, whatever ratio I decide on, it might be 5 minutes of running, 2 minutes of walking, and then alternating back and forth. So run, walk, hike just means, that race strategy is in play, and it's a mix of run, walk, and hike. And then on the Sunday, I would do a 16 run, walk, hike. That 2-day combo there, it really stresses you, because that second day on the Sunday, you will, you'll be running on tired legs. So that week, the total is 60 miles. So it's a fairly good week. But you'll notice here that the first 9 weeks are pretty intense. There's no breaks there other than the rest days in between. But then we have a rest week. And I built that in because I found that if I don't, that the stress on my legs and joints and so forth is just too much. I need a week just to be able to reestablish my base and get all the kinks out and so forth. And it's something to look forward to as well. But you can see coming out of week 10, the rest week, you go into week 11 and 12 and 14 that are extremely intense weeks where things really ramp up. So you can see in week 11, we are hitting 64 miles in total for that week. And we got back-to-back 25-mile run, walk, hikes. And then in the following week, we have a 66-mile total run, walk, hike. And that in that one, because they are back-to-back weeks, what I've done is I've taken a bit of a new approach this season, and so on that 12th week, in the morning I would run 13 miles. That's the AM. And then in the afternoon, I would run another 12 miles for a total of 25 miles, run, walk, hike. And I would do the same on the Sunday, total of 25, run, walk, hike, 12 in the morning, 13 in the afternoon. Again, this strategy really forces my system to deal with tired legs and have some experience of having to get up for a run after having completed several runs within a 24-hour period. So that's good training. Total of 66 miles there. But 2 weeks later, in week 14, we have a real doozy. Start out with a 6-mile walk, hike on Monday, followed by another 6-mile walk, hike on Tuesday. But then Wednesday, we have our first really decent distance, 44 miles run, walk, hike. And then the following day, 16 miles. So that's a total of 60 just in those 2 days, for a total of 72 miles for the week. So you can see after that we have a rest week again in week 15, which will definitely be welcome. But then you've got another 3-week period where it's pretty intense again. So if we look at the total mileage of the run, walk, hike in that final column. I have coded in blue the weeks of totals exceeding 60 miles. And the goal is to get at least 6 or so, even 5 at a minimum, hopefully 6 or 7 of these 60 plus weeks in your training schedule. So right here, I have several. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. So that's better than last year. Last year I had 6. So I've ramped it up ever so slightly this year. So you can get a sense there of, the kind of intensity over time. But the nice thing about the schedule is that it's very doable. And, people scoff at the run walk strategy or the walk hike days and so forth. But believe me, to sustain 24 weeks of intensive distance, mixing those in will ultimately reward you in so many ways. And while you're doing that, you're also learning how to walk on tired legs and to hike fast. So anyway, that's the overall map that I'll be using starting on July 22nd. And the race, as you can see, is coded in red. Race days, 29th and 30th. So I'm hoping some of you are going to join. If not, back home, actually at the race in Arizona. So that's the schedule. I can email it to you if you need it. But hopefully you can get enough detail here to be able to mimic it and customize it for your own purposes.
Yeah, so a lot of detail there on the training. The key thing is to get through that plan with very minor injuries. I mean, you will get injured along the way, but those are, doable. You can work through them. You can rest through them. There's a lot of ways you can take care of those limited injuries. If you've got serious injuries, you're probably looking at pushing off the race. But hopefully you do it slowly but surely. And as you can see, I build in rest weeks. It's 4 days a week of running. If you want to add in some core strength, I didn't put that in there because that's so personal. But core training is definitely an option for a 5th day. But you can see that the running part includes walking sections or hiking sections. So those hiking sections, a lot of people just kind of poo-pah the hiking part. But, we're talking about a strenuous hike instead of a walk. And that helps you get your pacing on your walking pieces. How do you get the huge mileage that we have to do to complete the training? I mean, a lot of that comes down to being able to be very efficient with your walking as well as your running. So you have to train that right from the get-go. And I know some people are purists, but I'll tell you, 40 miles in, you can be a purist all you want and run all the way and end up with a did not finish at the end. And that's a lot of work to do for nothing. So, be disciplined, follow the plan, run, walk, look at the pacing, work out your own individual pacing. That's very important based on your experience, for the long runs. Do not fall into the trap of designing a plan around what you want to accomplish, but rather what you can accomplish based upon real data from your training. So don't do a spreadsheet run. Do a real run, and you won't be disappointed. And the plan's designed to give you that opportunity to succeed. So follow it. This next section, we're going to look at a video that goes over the race day plan. And so there's a lot of detail in this. You'll see, 10-mile splits, what to expect, pacing for running, for walking, if you're having pain, clothing changes, electronics, batteries, all kinds of things in there. You're going to add your own pieces that you want to add, certainly. The kinds of foods you're going to eat, at which intervals, and so on. All of this is hypothetical, of course, and hopefully it's based upon your training. But when you get in the 100, it's not as locked down necessarily as it looks on the plan. But at least it gives you a guideline. Your crew knows what to expect, and it's a guideline, and you try to stay close to it, right? And that'll give you a great opportunity to be successful. So, but I would say, look at this race plan, customize it for your own purposes, and if you need me to email it to you, I can send that to you as well. So here's the race plan.
So this is a quick overview on the race day plan for the 100-mile at the end of the year, and it's organized in segments of 10 miles, as you will see here, 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way through 100. And you can also see that these are some key targets and metrics that I want to keep in mind as I run each of those 10-mile segments. So right off the bat, I have run pace for the first 10 miles at 4.8 miles per hour, walk pace at 3.4 miles per hour, and then I calculate the blend between run and walk, what's the average miles per minute is, so we can get a sense there of what my targets are in time. And the run-walk ratio is, for the first 10 miles, is 0.75 run and then a 0.5 mile walk. So that's not only a ratio, but that's the actual mileage I'll do before I switch between run and walk. So I'll run 0.75, then walk for 0.5, and I'll just keep repeating that until the 10-mile segment is done. No stoppage breaks in the first 10 miles. As I go through stations and grab water and so forth, there's no, basically get it on the run if I can. The projected or targeted time is 2 hours and 25 minutes for the first 10 miles. And then I have an arrival time there. The race starts at 9. My arrival time would be at 11:25 a.m. Now that's important because it can tell my crew, when to expect me for the first 10. It gives me a sense of, how far I am in each 10-mile segment off the pace that I'm looking to hold for that particular segment. As you can see, the first 20 miles is set very similarly, and it's really only once I get past 20 that I start intentionally slowing down my pace from 4.8 on the run to 4.7, and the walk from 3.4 miles per hour to 3.3 miles per hour, and that's for the next 20 miles. The run-walk ratio stays the same for miles 20 through 40. There is a small break there in that 30 to that 20 at miles 30. Very, very short, 2-minute. Just to make a few corrections if I need them. The goal is not to stop. It's a race. It's dangerous to stop because it's always hard to get up again. So you can see arrival time there at 4:21 p.m. But now as we get deeper into the race, as we get into 40 to 60, you see the mileage, the pace starting to slow down. But still at a decent pace there. And you can see that the time to complete the 10-mile segment is also slowing down. As we get into mile 70, you see significant decreases in pace, 70, 80, 90. And the wheels start coming off. That's, for a lot of people, that final marathon, as they call it, the final 26 miles is really the race. I mean, the goal is to stay upright and keep moving for the first 70 miles, and then at that point you've got to find a way to get through it. But that is also when your pace starts to plummet. And the goal is not to go too crazy in that first 70 miles so that you do have enough left in that last 30 miles to be able to muster the will to complete it at a decent pace, because otherwise you fall off a cliff, and they call it the dead man's march, just trying to survive. So anyway, the overall goal, as you can see there, is to finish in below 30 hours. You can see I have 2 seconds to spare, 2 minutes to spare, I should say. Obviously, I will try to stay ahead of that pace quite a bit. But that's those are my barriers. So, in terms of making sure that I don't fall much behind that, if at all, I should be able to reach my goal of a sub 30 hour 100-miler. So that's it on the schedule.
So we've come to the end of the series, the end of episode number 12. And thanks so much for following. I hope that you've gotten a lot out of this. And, we just keep in mind all of my data and all of my suggestions generally, prepare you for a short loop type race, not an out and back or point to point type race. So take it within a context that, that I have, and then modify it according to what you will be doing. So, but it's been fun. Stay tuned for the big training starting in the 3rd week of July, as you can see on the plan that I just shared. And if you don't have a base, and I talk about a base that, anywhere from 6 to 10 miles, that you can run without getting too exhausted. A steady conversational kind of pace. If you can run 10 miles like that, you should have a decent base. I know some people say you should have about a 20 base to go into your training. I don't think it's necessary. And, at least then you don't get injured unnecessarily. And then the ramp up in July, 5.5 months, that's going to test you, but it'll build you up as you need to be built up, and it gives you those periods of rest in between where your body really needs to rebuild and figure out that you're serious about this, and then at depths, it's amazing. You'll look at that mileage and you go, oh, that's crazy, I can't do that. You can do it. I was shocked the first 2 seasons and how quickly my body adapted. I'm no fast runner, but I have tremendous endurance, and my body, cries like hell the first 6 weeks, and then after that it seems to be able to jump up 5-10 miles in a week, no problem. I know they say you shouldn't do more than 20% increase in a week, but sometimes it's necessary and you do it, but don't get injured, that's for sure. So sorry about all the traffic, I'm on a highway. So anyway, if you are interested in running the Across the Years race in Phoenix, Arizona at the end of the year, then let me know. I'd love to meet you or even swap some war stories, and we'll see you out there on the road. So happy running, be safe on the roads, and don't get injured. Take care.